We're ready. We're ready to go. You want me to read it? Should we read it?
No time like the present. Let's
All
go.
right. All right. This week's question is titled Late Thank You Notes. Dear Awesome Etiquette team, hoping for some advice reading thank you notes. Regarding thank you notes, excuse me. My father passed away 13 months ago. I am so sorry. Friends and family were wonderful and supportive, sending in meals, making donations in his memory. Shortly after, I had custom cards printed with the intention that each person would get, at the very least, a handwritten Dear XXXX with appreciation and then their signature, while others would get an additional note. However, to say that the time since has been chaotic would be an understatement, and no cards were actually sent out. My family is just starting to get our bearings back, and I am still thinking about sending out the thank you notes. Is there a graceful way to still send them out? I was thinking about printing and enclosing an additional piece of paper that apologizes for the lateness. But that seems like both a nice touch and overly apologetic and unnecessary at the same time. Would appreciate your guidance, late but grateful.
Oh, late
Hmm.
but grateful. Thank you so much for the question. And I also want to add my condolences to Lizzie Post at this difficult time, even
Yeah.
though it sounds like a little bit of time has started to pass.
Yeah.
I also want to affirm for you that you are so on point with all of the basic etiquette at what is oftentimes a difficult time when people are grieving and are working through that sense of loss. And one of the really good pieces of etiquette advice for community members, family members, people supporting those who are grieving is to send condolence notes. And it sounds like you received a number of those. And I also want to affirm for you that the good etiquette and what we suggest that Emily Post is that you do personally reply to those condolence notes, that you acknowledge receiving them. You thank people for the thought or the effort, or if there was something more personal that you wanted to express or share, it's a great opportunity to do that. We suggest this because it is oftentimes such a functionally important and good part of the grieving process. We have heard from many, many people over the years how rewarding this experience can be. We also don't want it to be a burden for families or people who are grieving. So there are some allowances. And Lizzie Post, I'm hoping maybe you could talk to us a little bit about some of that and why I would say go for it, send these notes. There really is this is good etiquette and you're not in a difficult situation here. At least that's what I would be saying. Lizzie, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are a little twofold. One, never too late. You can always send this, and I think it's Elizabeth. I can't see the name on the comment, but I think Elizabeth wrote in that it's never too late, but wouldn't emphasize the apology, just your sincere gratitude, and leave it at that. And I'm in that camp. I would rather than add the note with an apology, I would just focus on getting the thank you out. You might briefly gloss over it by saying, I'm so sorry this took me so long to write, but I want to tell you how deeply appreciative I am for the XYZ that you sent us, right after my father died. It warmed our family's hearts. We were so grateful for it. And I just thinking back, I really appreciate you and your efforts and your support at our difficult time. And that would be a really appropriate note to write. Here's where it gets a little stickier. I probably, especially at this point, I would not send out a pre-written note, one that's pre-printed with thank you so much for your thoughts during our difficult time, but then having the dear and the name be handwritten and your signature be handwritten. I'm less of a fan of that idea, especially as we get further and away from the complicated time. And one of the suggestions we've always had for someone who was grieving or going just through a very difficult time. It doesn't have to be because somebody died. When we receive support and sympathy, and the condolence is a little more connected to death, but I would say that it's something that we tell people when they're very overwhelmed and can't get to those acknowledgments of the condolence notes or the favors or the donations that have been done. I really think that our advice is enlist a family member or someone who could help you write the notes so that the burden isn't all on you to do it, but that you're getting that handwritten note to someone. We still place a lot of importance and emphasis on that. I do think it's fine when it comes to folks who have reached out via social media to put up one of those, having a moment of reflection, want to thank everybody who reached out to me on this platform. A year after my father's passing, I'm just so grateful for the community I have and the way they cared for us at that time. That kind of a thing that's kind of a mass send out, one for all kind of message is appropriate in that space. But I think it's as Dan said, we hear from folks who go through the process of doing acknowledgement notes that it is deeply comforting and satisfying to them, even something like a year out from the difficult time. So I would just want to encourage people that this isn't just, oh, do it because the Emily Post Institute says handwritten notes are the must do. It's also because it's known to be a good mechanism for working through or during grief, going through this process of acknowledgement. So I wouldn't do the pre-printed note, but I would definitely follow up with something like the suggested language I gave before.
It's definitely one of the points of etiquette. We talk about it with thank you notes. The question sometimes comes up of whether or not it's appropriate to use a printed thank you on a holdover card to send a thank you note. And the risk there is that you let the printed word do the work that your personal message should be doing. So
Yeah.
sometimes we tell people for thank you notes, it's okay to use a card that says thank you, but be sure that you write
The
yourself something
thanks. Yeah.
personal in there, that you don't lean on that printed word to do the work. So I'm right there with Cousin Lizzie. If there's some sort of custom stationery that is going to help ease the doing of this task that sets you up, that can really work well. But I can't jump on that bandwagon strongly enough of be sure that those messages are personalized, that they come
Yeah.
from you. And if there is something in particular that you're thanking for, that you mention it, that you reflect the personal nature of the message that you're responding to with your
Yeah.
reply.
Yeah. I love that, Dan.
Late but grateful, we really want to reassure you that it might feel like you're late, but you are not too late and you are absolutely on the right track. Clearly, your thoughtful approach to this is leading you in the right directions. We appreciate where this question's coming from and just encourage you to keep it up, follow through, and we really hope that it feels better as time goes on. Thank you so much for your question.
I also just want to point out that we've had Elizabeth Cottrell on this, and she is the queen of note and letter writing. And if you want any wonderful advice on putting pen to paper, please go visit Elizabeth's Substack, I believe Heartspoken. And it is just a great book, fabulous examples. You guys all love our sample scripts. This is the queen of letter writing and note sample scripts. So definitely take a look. I really appreciate Elizabeth showing up here, particularly for this one. I hope you all
Love
have a
that great work.
great weekend. Take care.